I don't want to rehash what most of you already know about the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank and the bank runs and crises that have been proliferating above and beyond the surface of events ever since. I want to stress, however, something you may not have thought about. We now live in an economic system that cannot protect us, not you, not me. We've had two dramatic lessons, even though there are lessons like this every day. We've had two dramatic ones. Horrible catastrophe of a derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and now catastrophic collapse of a bank in San Jose, California. It's extraordinary. The system doesn't work. The banks can't do what they're supposed to, or are driven by profit to cut safety, to cut care, to cut their responsibility. The railroad companies can't do it. The banks can't seem to do it. The institutions, governmental commissions and so on, that are supposedly regulating and supervising, they can't save us and protect us either. Let me go over the timeline that leads to the banking crisis. We have a pandemic and an economic crash in 2020. That was not prepared for. That was not managed very well. We really took it on the chin. That, in turn, was handled in so bad a way that it was followed by an inflation when we could barely recover from the pandemic and the crash. The inflation led to herky-jerky governmental policies, which included raising the interest rate, which hurt the same poor and middle-income people that had already been hurt by the crash and the pandemic and the inflation. And now we're told we're going to have a recession. Well, with rising interest rates, the value of bonds go down. No one seems to have said to themselves in the halls of power, banks invest a huge amount of their deposits in government bonds. They've been doing that for, let's see, 2 centuries. So it's not as though it's a secret. And if the bonds go down in value when interest rates go up, which they do, and which they have been doing for 6 to 8 months now, the logic would say, uh-oh, if something goes wrong, the banks are going to have a lot less wealth in the value of those. But no one thought it through. No one took the appropriate steps. The banks took bigger and bigger risks, probably hid half of what they were doing from the... It's the same old story. If you leave private enterprise in place, it will undo, it will subvert any regulations put in. After 2008 and 9's catastrophe, we had some reforms, the Dodd-Frank Act and others. What did the banks immediately do? Go to work lobbying with their money to reduce those regulations. President Trump went real far in reducing them. Just like in the few years before the collapse of 2008 and 9, the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act, a reform after the Great Depression of the 30s, opened us up for the 2008-9 catastrophe. That this is going on should surprise no one. That the people of this country tolerate a system that works like this, that's the issue.